What's up, folks? It's Mickle here, and today we're talking about vision boards. Does this stuff really work? Is it delusions of grandeur? Is it motivational hype speech? That's what we're going to discuss. I'm going to tell you what I think and why. And with that being said, let's get started. All right, folks, so for our first example, we're going to talk a little bit about the golf course. Why did I pick the golf course? As you can see, we're on the golf course today. This is a beautiful setting. It's a beautiful backdrop. But more importantly than anything, this is my home. I get to live on this beautiful place, in this beautiful establishment. It was one of the first things that were on my vision board many years ago. As I said, I'm from the mobile home, so I knew nothing about a place like this or this lifestyle. I was a senior in college at the Citadel, which is one of the finest military colleges in South Carolina. In my senior year, I was sent to a humanities seminar that was for students that were considered potential or had the potential to go to law school. I was not interested in law school. However, I was picked through whatever reasons to go to the seminar, and so for 3 or 4 days we went to Seabrook Island, South Carolina, and we did debate. And when I was there, I learned what a golf course community was. Seabrook Island was a very exclusive golf course community. Everything was manicured, much the way you see here. Seabrook Island was on the ocean, and just driving through that community and being there for several days, I thought it was just absolutely fabulous. I just did not understand that people were living like that. So I put the golf course community on my vision board. And as you can see today, I live here. Now, how did I get here? It wasn't just hocus pocus. It wasn't the smoke and mirrors. I did begin studying various golf courses, studying various states. I had to ask myself, where did I want to live? Which state did I want to be on the ocean? I started researching a lot about real estate, so much to the point I started investing in real estate. I even wrote a book on real estate, but I got after it. I didn't just put it on a board and leave it there. I started to study, a number of different communities to be sure. Like, how do you know you want a golf course community? I visited golf course communities. I started researching golf course communities. What's the average age? This community is very senior, meaning that I'm one of the younger guys here in my late 40s. Most people here are retired. They're well into their late 60s and beyond. So you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. You got to do a lot of research for yourself to ensure what you put on your vision board is actually what you want. And in this case, that was what I wanted. I pursued it, and so now I have it. I also had to understand a lot about finances. Again, where are you in life? These things on your vision board probably cost a lot of money. So I became very astute financially, managing my finances, 401ks, rainy days funds, lines of credit, credit scores. Again, it wasn't just, okay, I'm a guy that makes $10 an hour. I want to live on a golf course. I put it on a vision board and bam, there it was. No, I studied a lot of different careers. I made a choice for what I thought was best for me. And then I began to research, study, and invest. And now today I am on the golf course and been here for several years. I really love the manicured community just as much as I thought. You have country clubs, you have restaurants, you have massage areas, you got pickleball, all the things that I never would have thought. When I would see other people on the covers of these magazines, whether it was retirement magazines or just exclusive communities, they were not people of color generally. And here I am, and that is very representative of most communities. I'm a young black guy with a young black family, and we are very few and far between, but that didn't bother me. And I would venture to say things that are going your vision board, especially if you're a person of color, that could be the case for you as well. So don't just mindlessly put these things on there. Put things on there and then get after them, research them, make sure they make sense, and then you too can start moving towards having them. So that's the first one, vision boards. All right, folks, so today in tackling these questions about vision boards, I figured I'd just ride through my community, as this is one of the things on my vision boards. We'll talk a little bit about it in a minute. But vision boards, when I first heard of it, I never knew that was something that actually worked. What I did was I had, like, I'm into homes, very nice homes are my thing. So I went out one day and I took a picture of a home I really, really liked and wanted to own. And I blew it up and put it on my wall. And it was really just for my own edification. But I blew it up in such a large size, a visitor came over one day. She saw it and she asked me about it. And I really sort of downplayed it. And she told me to not downplay it. She said, no, really play it up, really get behind it. She said, because that's what they teach us in Mary Kay, to envision things, put them on a vision board. And that was my first interaction with a vision board, seeing things, believing in it. And that's how I came across it. Now, some people will think the vision boards are just, fluff. It's maybe that holy roller crowd, as I've heard some people refer to it, meaning that the people that just believe in the Bible and, the Habakkuk 2 and 2, write the vision, make it plain, and at an appointed time, it could come to you. Some people believe without a vision, the people perish. There were so many sort of biblical verses, but I wanted to know about people who would actually way out there that really, really made it big in life. Were those things true? And I found that to be the case. You have people like Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Steve Harvey, Denzel Washington, Oprah Winfrey. And again, those were all people that I'd seen, I'd heard of on TV, but I'd never met anyone in person who was really, really at a high level that talked about vision boards until I came across Ted Leonsis. Now, for those of you who do not know, Ted is a billionaire. He made a lot of money through AOL. He went on to buy the Washington Wizards, Mystics, the Capitals. He owned the Verizon Center and many other things. Ted wrote a book called The Business of Happiness. And I picked up that book. This was years ago. And Ted was going to be speaking at a breakfast I was going to with the Wharton Club in Washington, D.C. So I came there, I listened to Ted, I went out and bought his book, and sure enough, he had a vision board. And I'm like, wow, a guy who has $1 billion in net worth believes in vision boards. So I checked out his vision board. It had some amazing things on it. And then I created, I already had a vision board, but the cool part was at the end of Ted's book, he said he wanted to see the reader's vision board. So if we had one, send it in, he'd have a look, or he'd have his team have a look. And the best vision boards he would feature on his website. And that's exactly what happened. I sent my vision board in to Mr. Leonsis, and sure enough, when you went to Ted's website, you saw praise for the book from LeBron James, basketball player, Ken Chenault, CEO of American Express. You had the Great Eight, Alex Ovechkin, one of the best hockey players in history. And then you had my name, Anthony Von Mickle, in my vision board, my praise for the book. It was a really, really neat experience. And so seeing someone who really made it, a billionaire who I'd met in person, had a vision board, that was very telling for me. And that's when I really continued to get behind it. A number of things that I put on my vision board have come to pass. Good morning. And so again, if you're looking for reasons from people who you admire, respect, look up to, and those sort of things, like, do they really believe in vision boards? There are your answers. So those are a couple of things about the people that do them. Now, your vision board should probably be in a few categories. It doesn't have to all be, financial, material things, although I would imagine that's going to be it for most people. Some people will like relationships, maybe a great marriage. But I think most people probably target things that they can't really control. Maybe, you know, you can really work on your great marriage. You don't have to buy that in a store. I don't want to make light of it. It's obviously, you know, very important, but things that tend to be out of people's reach, they have to work for, that maybe the markets control. So, but before we go into other material things, let's talk about other categories. So let's get into physical, weight loss. I wanted to bench press 315 pounds. I would see people in the gym, and when they would put 2 plates on each side, so that's like 235 pounds, the plates would make a very distinctive noise, and I always thought it looked cool for guys that could bench press that much. But then when you would get guys that would put on 3 plates, it was just, when they would slam those plates on that bar to get ready to do that bench press, again, it was a very distinguished sound. Everyone would really pause, whether they wanted to acknowledge you or not. Everyone heard that sound, and you just knew there was a strong guy about to go to work on that bench press. And so I always wanted to do that. I put it on there, and then unfortunately, a personal trainer told me that I would never be able to do it because my arms were simply too small. But he said, however, if your arms were bigger, which they probably won't be because genetically you don't have big arms in your family, what you would have to do is heavy dumbbells, like at least 100-pound dumbbells in each hand. You do that, you get to where you can do that comfortably, then you'll probably be able to bench press 315 pounds. So ignoring what he thought about my arms, I started doing that. I increased my barbell weight class up to about 105 pounds. So I put 105 pounds in each hand. I could do that comfortably. And then I went on to not only bench press 315 pounds, I got up to about 330 before I hurt my shoulder. And then I came back down. But the point was, I was able to bench press 315 pounds. So that was one of the other things. So you have physical, obviously material. I talked about the house. Something else I had on my vision board was cars. Like most guys, I like cars. And in my case, Lamborghini. When I first put a Lamborghini on my vision board, I wanted a Murcielago. It took me a while. I had to study that because, again, your vision board is probably going to shift. What you want today, you may not want tomorrow, or you may have to pivot from. Now, I knew the bottom line was I wanted an exotic car. I didn't know anything about Ferrari any more than I did about Lamborghini. So I had to essentially pick a side. Like, look, which one do you want first? So I decided to pick Lamborghini. I focused on Lamborghini. So I started to study Murcielago. Became very up to date on it, everything I could find. By the time I got to it, the Murcielago, they stopped making it. They went into the Lamborghini Aventador. Again, a V12 engine, the doors go up, and that's what I wanted. So again, I learned everything I could about Lamborghini Aventador. I went to different dealerships to study them. I went to car shows to study them. I found out that I could race them around a track for, just a couple of $100. Again, it's a car that costs $450,000. But if I can go to Las Vegas and race one around a track for $500, I said, hey, that's a great way to get started. So that was how I got started. Eventually, I would go on to drive Lamborghinis Aventadors in 2012, 2013. They had an orange one, a black one. Most recently, the Aventador SV, which was a blue one. So again, that was how you do it. But I would also say, put things on the vision board that really turn you on. Don't just say, hey, I want to eat at McDonald's tomorrow. Nothing against McDonald's, but that's sort of something that's probably in your reach. Don't just put things on there to cross them off just so you can go and make yourself feel good that you crossed something off. Put something on there that's sort of out there that you really have to work to get. That will build your momentum and will sustain you as you reach forward. And you will become a better person, I promise you, by doing vision boards. So again, those are two quick things that I wanted to talk about. So those are a few examples. I'll try to do a few more examples. Another example on my vision board of things I wanted, I did add education. Now again, that's not a tangible, it's not like a home or a car or different sets of motorcycles, etc. I put education on my vision board. And let me pause for a moment. I'm going to turn the camera around so we can talk sort of face to face about education and why I think it's important. All right, so for education, I'd always wanted to go to Ivy League schools. I wasn't sure I had the chops. I didn't know if I could make it. But when I was in undergrad, I wanted to go to Harvard. And I remember telling my 11th grade geometry instructor, my teacher, that I was going to go to Harvard one day, even if it was just to use the bathroom, right? It was really that important to me. I didn't know where Harvard was. I really didn't know what it took to get in. I just knew that people had to be really smart, something I really didn't believe that I was at the time, but I knew I wanted to go to Harvard. So I was a language major in undergraduate school, and towards my senior year in undergrad, I wanted to continue my studies. So I found a program in Slavic languages at Harvard, which was Ukrainian. And that went on my vision board. Again, before I knew it was called a vision board, I applied to the program, I was accepted. And so I did go to Harvard and study Ukrainian. I also went back to, and I would put other Ivy League schools on there as well. And it wasn't so much about Ivy League schools, it's just I knew I wanted reputable schools. Now, for those of you who are not academically very strong, and trust me, I'm not as academically strong as you may think. So it's not to make those feel less than who aren't academically strong. It's really more about the pursuit of things. Harvard's Ukrainian research program was a summer program. So I didn't have to take an SAT or an ACT or an LSAT law school or GMAT business school to get into that program. The criteria were based on other things. But the point was, I put it on there and I ultimately went. Now, I did also take some programs at the Harvard Business School's executive education program, private equity, venture capital. M.I.T had artificial intelligence, so I took a program there as well. Georgetown had a program on sort of wealth management, took a program there as well. Again, these are not full-time, full immersion programs. These are programs that were at those schools. They were of great interest to me, but it also shows that it doesn't have to just be a material thing to go on your vision board. So those are other things that I put on there as well. Also, I'm an avid reader. I became an avid reader by listening to and studying billionaires. One in particular, I won't use this person's name right now. It's very controversial. However, this person said that they read a book every month and they're a billionaire. So if I don't read one book every month, I have no excuse. So that's what I started to do. Also, for those of you who, are faith-based and you're like, look, I get it, vision boards, I do it, I believe in it, I understand it, that's cool. I will say this, some of my greatest understanding about business, life, just facts and figures in general, come from books I've read from atheists of all people. So you keep it an open mind. One such person was Bill Maher. This guy's a tremendously intelligent comedian, but he's very politically astute. He's a Cornell grad, very smart guy. He does not believe in God. He believes that's your imaginary friend in the sky. Yet this guy has more biblical knowledge than probably anyone I've personally met, I guess, but he has a lot of it. However, one of the things he talked about, or I learned in his most recent book, in fact, I have a copy right now, I'm sitting here reading it, to let you all know it's not hocus pocus for me. I actually read the books. Here we go. Bill Maher. What this comedian said will shock you. This guy is very intelligent, folks. Let me tell you. He was talking about artificial intelligence. Did you know that one Bitcoin transaction uses the equivalent of 85,000 hours of YouTube viewing. What you're watching right now, 85,000 hours for one YouTube transaction. I didn't know that. I learned so much about so many things from this guy, Bill Maher. So he's one. Another, again, atheists, people who don't believe in God, I learned a lot from. One was also another Ivy League guy, Scott Galloway. He's an NYU professor. The things I learned about this guy from, from an investment standpoint, facts and figures, the number of people that are homeless, both of these guys, the number of people who live below $17 an hour, things about the economy. Scott Galloway talks about leveling up in life, using your talents versus reaching for things that you're passionate about. He gave solid examples. Someone wants to be an actor in Hollywood. They have a category of people, I don't remember the name, that are best in the world. So they joined this exclusive community, but most of them don't make enough money to be able to afford healthcare. So it's like, okay, hey, if being an actor or an actress in Hollywood is something that's on your vision board, but you haven't showed promise at an early age, like, teenage years, you're not showing that you have that, then you may want to shoot for something else. I'm not saying take it off your vision board, but I'm just saying having a sobering conversation with yourself about the people who are actually out there, they're doing it, but they can't afford healthcare. So if making a good living is important to you, over being an actor or an actress, you may want to pivot a little bit, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. If I wanted to be the quarterback in the NFL for, pick any team that you like, that's not going to happen, right? I'm past the quarterback age. I'm past the NFL age. Some things are impossible, okay? I got to sober up with you. I'm not going to be the point guard for the Miami Heat or the New York Knicks or the Chicago Bulls or the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not going to happen. I can't put that on my vision board in my 40s and expect that to happen. It's not happening. So some things, there are some requirements, some rules that you have to meet. So you have to pivot and find other ways to accomplish the areas of those things that you're looking for. I read lots of other books. I recently read That Will Never Work. Again, reading a book a month. This was about Netflix, the story of how they got started. A guy who also was in his 40s said that will never work. And then Netflix overtook Blockbusters, right? So you never know where things go. I wanted to learn more about cryptocurrency as I bought Bitcoin. We got Myth of Money. I read that book to learn that there's a place called Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador where people that literally trade based off Bitcoin. Here's something else I also learned. It seems like the origins of Bitcoin were started by young people who wanted to buy drugs, and then other people who wanted to buy sex, but did not want any way to have that traceable. So the blockchain allowed them to do that. They can trade money without it being traced, something you wouldn't want, perhaps if you're buying drugs or money. I read more books. Again, this is the other, Reed Hastings, the other co-founder of Netflix. He talked about great things. I also read, let's see what else. And folks, this is all in the past 5 or 6 weeks. Moneyland, the inside story of crooks and kleptocrats and such. So my vision board is not just something I'm writing on here and then going, please God, give me my vision. I get after it. I chase it. I get passionate about it. So I only put things on the board that I'm really, truly going to chase. And I would advise you all to do that as well. So that's it. I've given a couple of facts and figures. I've given some things that I hope is going to work for you. Do I believe vision boards works? Yes, they do. Vision boards put you in a call to action. It gets your mind right and you will pursue. So I hope that helped you. It's a great day out. I don't play golf, but I enjoy riding my golf cart on the golf course. So with that being said, hope you all have a great day today. From the mobile home to where moguls roam, I am Anthony Boy. on, Mickle, activate gorilla grind mode. Let's work.